Anyone remember this? No?
Deep Rising is one of those movies where I have no memory of how I ended up with a DVD in my possession, but boy am I glad it did.
The film is centred on a luxury cruise liner upon its maiden voyage. Our hero Finnegan is a boat driver who's been hired by a group of mercenaries to drive them towards the ship with a stock of torpedoes. It's one of the classiest cruise ships around, and everyone's having a rocking good time, when suddenly someone shuts off all the power to the communications and navigation. Just as all these storylines begin to merge, a gigantic sea monster decides to attack the ship and devour everyone inside.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, that is some bad luck.
Yeah, there's a ton of plot going on in this film. I haven't even talked about Famke Janssen's character, the owner of the ship, or Finnegan's crew, but they've all got their own plot lines going on as well.
The main guy, I swear, is the love child of Robin Williams and Nathan Fillion, with the personality of Brendan Fraser. Hell, he's even paired with Benny.
Well, if it ain't my little buddy Benny.
And Kevin J. O'Connor's character in this universe just lives a horrendous existence. Like 2/3 of the scenes with him in it are just either people kicking his ass or being mean to him. I feel so sorry for the dude.
Come to me, okay?
The main villain is great. He's like a cartoon character come to life. He's pure evil for pretty much no reason, and the performance is so overtly slimy that you love to hate him. He's like an over-the-top pantomime villain, and you can just tell the actor's having a ball with the whole performance.
Hello.
You look me dead in the eyes and tell me this isn't a man you would do business with. It's the late 90s, so of course there has to be some military-type plan shoved in there, with unnecessary technology that's dated about as well as mayonnaise in the sun. Remember when 700 megabyte CDs were the top-of-the-line state-of-the-art gizmo?
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Oh, you thought the Avengers movies had quips? They have nothing on Finnegan and the gang.
What are these things?
Real unfriendly.
I'm feeling a real lack of love here.
That's beef assistance. You know, you boys ought to get out more often.
That heap of junk is your boat?
You got a better one? Now what?
You want me to call housekeeping?
Rips.
Every single sentence out of Finnegan's mouth ends in a wisecrack, and I'm not even exaggerating. Every single sentence. It's hilarious. It's as if one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's one-liners was personified. The whole cast is constantly trying to outgun one another with a witty put-down.
Oh my God.
People instantly forget things the second they happen. A guy loses his girlfriend, yet there's maybe like a 3-second scene he sheds a single tear, then he's back yucking it up. Finnegan and Trillian pretty much spark a romance from nowhere, but it's so damn cliched, you can't help but throw your head back and let out a groan of hilarity. Also, I have to point out that despite being in water constantly, every time there's a new scene, people are usually bone dry.
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
The monster is comprised of hundreds of tentacles. They are animated well, but they've definitely aged badly. It's from 1998, and nothing from the 90s has aged particularly well. The design is pretty gruesome though. It reminds me of the Doc Ock arms from Spider-Man crossed with a bobbit worm, just if its pincers were replaced by human teeth. And they're all connected to an even bigger threat that shows up in the climax.
Jesus Christ!
In typical 90s fashion, it involves a big chase scene and our heroes jumping away from a massive explosion. The last 15 minutes of this movie are a blast.
There are some effects that haven't aged as bad though. The practical effects are awesome. These things can't digest bone, so they just spew out gooey bodies all over the place. There's quite a bit of carnage. Some of the imagery here is stuff you'd find in something like Hellraiser. However, it takes forever to get a look at these things. I understand they want to build them up and showcase their power, but it takes 55 minutes before we even get a look at their tentacly bodies. Then, they're pretty sparingly used throughout the rest of the film.
You want to know what it reminded me of most? Alien Resurrection.
It feels almost like a remake of it in some weird alternate reality. There's a bunch of mercenaries there for their own cause, a secret cover-up, a ship infested by dangerous creatures. They have to swim through a waterlogged tunnel where one of them dies. They find the beast's lair with bodies everywhere, and a queen— you get the idea. They both have the same goofy over-the-top style to them as well. In Deep Rising, the most repeated line in the movie is simply screaming at the top of your lungs and firing off these futuristic mini-turrets.
My ears.
It's a big budget B movie, like a lot of other Stephen Sommers films. If you liked The Mummy or G.I. Joe, then you'll love this shit. It makes little sense, the characters are all cliches of cliches, and it's never tense or scary, it's just pure spectacle. If you love big dumb B movies, then this is an easy recommend.
It's not a good film, but a damn entertaining one to sit and poke fun at with a buddy or two. Deep Rising might be a cliched product of its time, but that's all just part of its charm.